Greetings and welcome back, Culturians. We've got a story for you coming to you from That Park Place, of course, all about the gaming industry and another huge fail. And you probably already know about this one because we've been reporting on it here for quite some time. You see, our friend Grummz has been reporting about it, and you've probably heard about Ghost of Yōtei. Yeah. And one of the small problems it has, which is, not making a profit. So, here we go. Of course, ghosts of profits. There aren't any. Ghost of Yōtei's sales leak has, dropped again. And this time around, it's not great news for Sony or anybody else. And Trevor Denning over at That Park Place put this one together. And according to Mark Kern, otherwise known as Grummz, the former Blizzard developer, Ghost of Yōtei, the highly anticipated sequel to Ghost of Tsushima, which was good, by the way, a very good game, as a matter of fact, still hasn't caught up to its predecessor. Well, there's a lot of reasons for that, and mostly it was just because of who they chose to favor and the direction that they pursued. This seems to be a problem with gaming that developers don't seem to understand yet, but the customers keep rejecting each and every time that they do it. Now, the gap between the two of these particular franchises is much, much worse than it was right after the game came out. You see, in late October, Mark Kern made the bold claim that Yōtei sales were around 3.2 million units. And believe it or not, they kind of were almost exactly that. In fact, at the time, it probably was exactly that, and he was given proper information. In fact, Gematsu reported that it had 3.3 million copies sold just a few weeks after Mark Kern had reported this. So within 100,000 units tells you these numbers were right in line. So when Mark updated the latest figures here in this tweet from X, I have updated info on Ghost of Yōtei sales after Black Friday. The good news, Yōtei sold over 4 million units. That's pretty good. But the bad news, which is, of course, almost always the worst part of situations for Sony or Sucker Punch or any of these companies, is that it's underselling the previous game, Ghost of Tsushima, by 20% to date. If you were to compare the two, this is a calamity, a colossal loss. If you take a look at it in terms of opportunity cost, well, this is not good. Reminder, Grummz was dead accurate with his sources numbers the first time, proven 100% correct. So he trusts those numbers, and I trust Grummz. I also trust his sources, and I trust that whenever you remake a game with a lot of political nonsense inserted, you're going to have worse sales. That's just the way it is. That's the way of the world. It's the way of the video game anyway, and of course now the way of movie, television, etc., etc. Assuming all of this is correct, as is written here by Trevor, the widening gap between Tsushima and Yōtei must be setting off alarm bells over there at Sony and Sucker Punch. I imagine they already did. Generally, a sequel is able to build upon the earlier game's success and popularity, which is why they need to be worried. It's not happening with this game, and it's likely keeping the executives and developers up at night, not to mention giving them a little insight into why you don't change the formula and why you don't insert political nonsense. I mean, let's be fair. Now, there are some theories that go along with why this is happening beyond mine, so let's take a look at that. One possibility is that Yōtei retails for $70. The digital download was not part of Sony's Black Friday sale, so physical sales copies were obviously not discounted at retailers like Walmart or GameStop. Tsushima, conversely, was only $60, $10 less at launch, with consumers being more selective about how they spend their entertainment dollars these days, other AAA releases may be taking priority, especially something that is newer and not fundamentally changed from the original. Also worth considering is that Tsushima was released near the end of the PS4's life cycle, where there were 110 million consoles in homes around the world. That's a pretty significant number compared to the PS5s that are released right now, around 80 million units. Of course, people like myself and people like my friend Smash GT would argue that the game itself is actually to blame, with a follow-up tweet saying it would be at 8 million right now if it was a proper sequel. And I agree wholeheartedly. What were the differences? Well, you see, Yōtei is set over 300 years after the events of Tsushima, and it features a, get this, female protagonist, which is something that we talked about upon the game's release. That makes it distinctly different, and apparently in some areas that maybe gamers care about. Gamers are suspicious of a bait and switch from a game with a celebrated story to something pushing an agenda, likely to take a wait-and-see approach, which, as a gamer, I have to tell you, I've done more than a few times myself. Now, development of the game was also steeped in controversy after the murder of Charlie Kirk. One of the developers, Drew Harrison, was fired for making light of Charlie's death. Her tasteless joke ignited a firestorm online, causing many gamers to press pause on any kind of pre-order. And I have to tell you, I was not interested in this game strictly because of the massive changes, at least to the franchise itself, and for the voice actor that was cast, which is an entirely different conversation. Harrison herself claimed that she was the victim of a targeted harassment campaign, but she really shouldn't have made a lot of noise if she really wanted to avoid the controversy and obviously keep her job, which she lost after she'd already developed the game in the first place. In fact, here's a tasteless element of the joke itself. I hope the shooter's name is Mario so that Luigi knows his bro's got his back. So between that and some controversial creative decisions, bad press, many gamers are just deciding to keep their $70 in their pockets and the 30 hours of playtime, which is not very much when you consider how much this game costs. It can go elsewhere, maybe into a few more hours of Grand Theft Auto 5. The bigger issue is that Yōtei has dramatically missed the mark with its target audience, and frankly, to be fair, I'm unsurprised. How about you? That's right, it's time for audience participation, and I'm curious, did you suspect that Ghost of Yōtei, a game that was certainly bait and switch and politically laden, on tops of many other layers of controversy, did you think this was going to perform well? Did you think this would be a winner for Sucker Punch and for Sony? Or do you think that this, like many other games, would get wrapped up in the controversy and fail to perform at the end of the day? Your thoughts are as good as mine, so let me know those in the comment section down below. As always, be sure to take care of yourself, take care of others, and until next time, see ya! Just probably not playing Ghosts of Yōtei.